The PA Posse versus the World of Outlaws is always can't miss racing. We got to look behind the scenes of what it's like calling those races as Fox 33's Ryan Yee caught up with World of Outlaws announcer John Gibson for this week's Sunday Sit Down.
When it comes to atmosphere, Pennsylvania is definitely number one. The rivalry that we see between the drivers of the World of Outlaws and the Pennsylvania Posse, nowhere else in America do we see that type of competition. And I think the fans maybe take it a little more seriously than the drivers do, but there is an element of rivalry even between the drivers, and the fans, I think, just latch on to that. The us versus them atmosphere, we don't see that anywhere else we go. On a normal World of Outlaws stop, the fans turn out to see the world's greatest sprint car drivers and the touring drivers. In Pennsylvania, they turn out to see those drivers get beaten by the local drivers.
There really isn't another place that maybe pushes, and obviously I'm a little bit biased, but that pushes the World of Outlaws the way they do here. Can you talk about really, it is so close here, and it might surprise a lot of people that it is such a competition between the Posse and the Outlaws.
When you look at that Pennsylvania Posse versus World of Outlaws rivalry, number one, for the drivers in Pennsylvania, they race more than any other drivers in the country. The season starts so early here. In February, they're waving the green flag, and they race all the way sometimes through November. So the drivers here race more than pretty much any other locals, and sometimes even more than the World of Outlaws drivers themselves. And they do that racing, the majority of that racing, at just a few tracks. So these drivers in Pennsylvania have such a knowledge of the tracks that they race on, whereas the World of Outlaws drivers come in here 3 times a year, 6 or 7 nights on the calendar. So that's where the Pennsylvania Posse really has the advantage in the hometown knowledge.
And one of those tracks being the Grove right here, and that has brought no shortage of amazing races and ones that people have marked in their history books. Can you speak on the history that's here at the Grove when it comes to dirt track racing and overall just how unique of a venue this track really is?
Williams Grove Speedway definitely in the top 5 of all sprint car tracks as far as the historical value. You look at how long this track has been here and the names that have raced here, just the list of drivers that have been to victory lane at Williams Grove. It reads like a who's who of the sport. If you go look at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum in Knoxville, Iowa, Hall of Famers galore from Pennsylvania. And again, Williams Grove Speedway, fairly unique in its layout. Not as many tracks with the long straightaways and the tight corners and the cars that hike up the front wheel coming down the front straightaway, the split pit area, the grandstands on the backstretch, on the front stretch, Beer Hill. It is just such a unique venue, and it's something that every sprint car fan should experience.
For fans that are brand new to the sport or are maybe a little bit hesitant to maybe buy in a little bit, what's your message about people are missing out? If you're not watching dirt track racing in central Pennsylvania, you should be.
Sprint car racing is the most extreme form of motorsports in my opinion. It is flat out as fast as you can go for 30 laps around a half-mile racetrack. Cars are sideways, the high horsepower to weight ratio. 1,000 horsepower in some of these cars that weigh 1,425 pounds. It's a higher horsepower to weight ratio than even Formula One. So if you've never seen dirt track racing and the World of Outlaws in particular, you need to come out to Williams Grove Speedway and experience that rivalry.